Hi and welcome. I'm very happy that so many people are here, and I'm really honored and very pleased to welcome on stage Björn and Gustav of the wonderful Mando Diao. Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Oh, gentlemen. Hey, have a seat. To be honest,
To you.
Oh, it's your birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Björn Dixgård. Happy birthday to you.
wow, you! I didn't know that. That's what I call true fans. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So honestly, I thought I was well dressed up, but compared to you, that's
Think
what
you
I
are
call
well
an
dressed up.
outfit. Wow.
Oh, these are just working clothes for, I think Hare Krishna wears them. Yeah.
Really, but they have orange, don't they have?
They have a lot of colors.
Okay, so also
They
white.
use the full scale. You know.
Okay, so this is
But right now we're in working mode.
okay, in relaxing working mode.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and even because the record is just out,
Yes.
so how does it feel? Is it sort of like comfortable? Is it satisfying that the baby is born?
It's almost a little bit sad, actually.
Why?
But you know, it's like when you raise your kids, you know, and one day you have to release them, and they have to go out and learn about the world themselves and move away from home and stuff like that. It's a little bit like that. Not as dramatic, but it feels like that, you know. Now we released Aelita to the world, and Aelita can do whatever they want with it, pretty much.
So is it hard for you to sort of finish working on a record or on a project? So are you the guys who never get really finished because you always have to do something else? And
We record and release about one album a year. And so we are always in that like development phase, you know. So Aelita was recorded maybe between, it took us 1 or 2 years, you know. But we already done the next one. The next album is already recorded, you know. So it's not so hard, you know. It has to be finished because there's another one coming.
okay, so because as you just mentioned, you have been very busy the last years, because when Give 'Em Fire came out with a monster hit, Dance With Somebody, was 2009.
Yeah.
And then you did the Unplugged, then you did the Swedish Inforgettable, the
Yeah.
very, very famous and successful album, and now the new album is out. You just mentioned it, and you have it very good written on your t-shirt. It's called Aelita.
Aelita, yes.
And where does the name come from?
The name, actually, the first name it appeared, it was a Tolstoy novel about the Queen of Mars. It was a science fiction novel about a communistic society in Mars, you know. And Aelita was the queen. And after that, there was a synthesizer named after this character, I think, you know, from the Soviet Union, built in the 70s, and our edition was from the 80s. But everything was on this. We found it on a second-hand shop. And in Russia, they have completely different engineering. So the one who built this didn't follow the same rules as they did when they did Western instruments or techniques. So it was like doing like this almost, like you have to, everything is backwards, you know. So in our point of view, Aelita behaved much more like a human being almost. It was much more like getting to know someone than getting in control of a technique or technology. And then we started philosophing about the technology we have around us, everywhere, where we connected with each other. And it's so complex these days. So for us to just say that it's a dead thing is not really true. There's no evidence that man is in control over internet, for instance. Though man created internet, it has no control over it. It's a machine, but it's a living machine, you know, in one way. The same with the economics. And for us to see music and instruments as not dead, but living things, people you can have relationship with. Then it opened up our world.
Okay, so what is Aelita? Is she?
It's a philosophy. It's a philosophy.
It's a philosophy, yeah.
For us, it's letting go
Okay.
of the of our old way of seeing stuff around us. It's a way of us opening up our arms for future, of course, but also for history. The first thing we did was not after we discovered this. The first thing we did was not go into space. The first thing we did was the Infruset with 100-year-old poems from Sweden, and that was also opening up and letting go.
So having that in mind, because when you found this more than a machine, let's call it like this, because it has a very special sound. If you compare it, it's sort of Soviet queen of analog synthesizers. It's like the Soviet comparison to the Minimoog, which is very famous in music. Like Kraftwerk did it, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Lucky Man, and all this kind of stuff. So is there a famous song written on Aelita besides your songs on the album? Probably not.
I don't know, actually, but
I tried to find out, but I couldn't.
I don't think so.
Like Gustav said, it's not really the important thing for us with this synthesizer. That's the symbol for us. So
the symbol of change.
It's not really who used it before or who, nothing like that. We just stumble on it by coincidence, and then it opened up.
So when it opened up like this, how much impact had the idea and the philosophy of it actually to the music? Because it has a special sound, and when you used it, or you probably took it into the band and the music and the philosophy, how much actual impact had it on the music? The sounds which comes out of this?
When you have a relationship with an instrument that is not technical, more biological, then for us as musicians and especially as songwriters, it opened up and our melodies became a little more sensitive and we had much easier to describe our emotions. So we played a little bit like jazz would be maybe the best way to describe it, how we played the music. Not according to tones or chords or notes like we were used to, but much more free, because we didn't really know the technique, so we had to kind of improvise all the time. So it was improvisation. So the melodies, what I've seen on Aelita, maybe that on the other albums they were more like da 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 da, and now they're more like da 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 da, like it's kind of floating like the Swedish language. It's like goes up and down, And
so to us it feels like we're closer to our personality in that way, to our emotions, to our personality. That's a very strong feeling.
Yeah, but listening to the record really gives you as a listener a very strong feeling, because when you listen to the old records, of course it's Mando Diao, but with the new one it's sort of like there's something totally new in the sound and in the music, but also in the, as you mentioned, the intensity probably. So it feels right. It sounds a bit stupid to say that, but it feels, for me, I just thought, I think they got somewhere. So does it feel the same for you?
Well, it's hard to know where you are at the moment. You have to move to the next step to see where you were, if you know what I'm saying. So it's very hard to see how we are. I think you are much easier to see where we are, and you hear the music from outside. I can't see really a difference so much between Aelita and the other ones. I think that Aelita, to me, sounds like me and Björn and our songs and our memories and our feelings. And I see Bring Him In it, and I see God Knows, and I see Dance With Somebody and Gloria, and I see Infruset, and I also see Caligula and what we did with the art collective of Caligula. So for us, it's a very natural, It's like you get bared in puberty. It's very like, it's a strange, maybe a change, but it's natural,
You have always been a band who are sort of like moving forward, being curious of new things. So, and especially with the new album. So, and as you mentioned, so this is definitely not the end of Mando Diao's sort of musical outcome.
No, hopefully it's just a start.
It's a middle, probably somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. I mean, if you asked me that question 5 years ago, I would have said that no, we're going to do like everybody else did. We're gonna be punk, we're gonna throw our instruments on the ground and we're gonna smash them and we're gonna smash hotel rooms and then we're gonna make rock and roll albums and we're gonna drink Jack Daniels and then you're gonna smoke cigarettes. And you all know the stories because you read it in the books, you know. But there are also cliches that you're taught that this is how you do, you know. And I would probably say that we are gonna quit the band before we were 30, you know.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, yes I did. And now I know that you're not going to quit a band because it's not a band, you know. It's a way of expressing yourself. And that is not going to quit, you know, until I'm dead, you know. Then I'm going to quit writing songs, you know.
We can count on that. So, but how is the actual work when you two work together? Is it because you've been working together for such a long time? Is it sort of like a natural thing? Are you arguing a lot? Has everyone sort of different roles to play? Is it democratic or how is it, the process?
It's very simple, and music is supposed to be simple. And the day I met Gustav, I felt that this is a simple guy that I can work with. You know, I was writing songs alone in the Mando Diao that were at the time, then, you know, back in '97. But I felt that just the simpleness is the most important thing, and then leads to a lot of stuff. And the love we have for the passionate feeling we have to music. It's a very simple way to base your life on, pretty much. You don't need to go to therapists and stuff if you have a guitar or an instrument in your sofa.
It's a healthy thing.
It's a very healthy thing, and of course between us as well.
But like the basic would be that we sit and play with each other a lot. Like we have. I mean, guitars, or now we use a lot of telephones, of course. There's all kinds of instruments in your telephones, and that's where you have all the time. And then we sit and play for each other, because then you can play also songs you recorded, but then also add instruments to it live while you're playing it. So it's almost, usually, you know, Björn sings, "What's happening in that room?" And then in my head that goes into, "Oh, no, 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 growing old," you know, and that's exactly how we write. So we write pieces for pieces and pieces, and then an intro, and then a little piece there. And we sit like this, and probably like most creative people work when they come up with something, you know, they sit and they kind of, it's a way of socialize.
We would never plan, you know. Like kids do, they don't plan what to play when they're about to go into a room. You know, they just look around and then they like throw themselves over something. And we do the same. You know, we don't plan. We don't plan what albums we're gonna make. We don't plan what songs we're gonna make. We just play with each other, and a lot of stuff comes up.
And see what comes up.
Yeah.
Okay. So no plan behind this new record.
No, I'm sorry.
Damn. So maybe that's because it sounds so organic.
Maybe, you know, the only thing that has been general through our whole career, maybe, if I look at it, might be the love that we put in, as I talked about earlier, and passion. That's the main thing, you know. It's very big to us.
Yeah, and it's a lot of love, and it's a lot of passion for music and for playing and for playing it live, I would say. That's a lot of hate-love relationship, because it's not easy going and being away so much, you know. But it's almost like a drug, you know. It's very, very hard to get rid of. And we don't want to tour, seriously. We don't want to tour anymore. Because, you know, but that's also, we can't stop, you know, because it's such a relief to play live. It's like the natural state of mind. I don't know why, but it's like that. So we're also gonna play live probably till we die also. You know.
Yes.
So, so that must be, especially when you make a new record, then putting it on stage for the first time must be like a very interesting experience, let's call it like this, because you're probably very afraid, how does it sound like, even if you rehearsal a lot. So bringing it out is, again, like bringing out the record.
Yeah, but we've learned that the fear, what you talked about, being afraid, some people might think that we are not afraid, and that's why we may dare to do changes and may dare to do stuff or say stuff that others don't. But it's the opposite, you know. We fear very much all the time. We are very anxious and we are very nervous and especially live, you know, that's the biggest fear. And you can talk to me hours and
you
hours.
You crawl
before the
around
show.
on the floor and
Basically, yeah.
you
It's horrible. It's horrible. And releasing an album is anxiety for almost 2 weeks when you like of like complete dark emotions. But what you learn is that fear is something good, you know, because then you're doing something and you're at something. And there's not an option to let fear set the rules.
No, that's not a good idea.
No. And that is what we say all the time, that we don't follow haters. You can say that I'm bad or ugly or anything, you know. That's not the issue, you know. That doesn't say anything about me.
Of course.
It says everything about themselves. It says that you don't like this, you know. Okay, then I know stuff about you. But what you learn is that the fear is what is kind of a proof that you are somewhere and you're going somewhere. So you learn that the fear is actually not such a bad thing, you know. It's progress. So the option is not to go up on stage when we crawl on the floor. The option is to crawl to the stage, then get up and play, you know.
Okay.
So that's what we do all the time. We have to deal with the fear, go through the fear, and then perform, you know.
Besides the sound of the new record and the emotions and the feelings you get when you listen to it, it also has a very special artwork, which you can see, of course, when you buy the CD. And it seems that you put a lot of effort into that artwork. It's very colorful on one hand, but it also has something else in it. It's not just the CD cover. It's even more.
The aesthetics about it is one thing, how it looks, you know. But what the idea with the cover from the beginning was that the way we consuming music, and this probably goes for all of you today, is, I mean, decades ago you bought one product and you took it home and you used that product every day, the same product, until you basically worn it out. And then maybe you bought a new product, you know. It was a vinyl, CD or tape or anything, you know. But what you do today is you consume music on so many platforms, in so many levels, in so different terms, you know, in life. It could be in the car, and it could be with your iPhone or your iPad. It could be on your computer. It can be on the CD. It can be so many stuff. So we wanted a cover that fitted every one of these platforms, and also the ability of these platforms. Because you see it, album cover today on an iPad. That is a vinyl cover that they create on an iPad, which is, if you think of it, insane.
Yeah.
A bit. Yeah, a bit. Yeah, exactly. And what we wanted to do was to use them. So there will be one cover for CD and one cover and a different for instance, what we're working on right now is on the iPhones and on the iPads, you will gonna be able to walk around in the artwork, holding it up, then you see what's above you. Holding it down, you see what's below. If you're holding it back, you see what's behind you. So you can actually go into this 3D world, the artwork, like a jungle, and wander around.
And that's the artist as well. He created it like that. Ossian Melin, who is the artist, he's a digital artist. He works like that. He creates his own world in his head, and then he creates it in the computer. You know.
Yeah, it sounds great.
He simulates it in the computer, so it's really a world to dive into. But you know, there's never any excluding involved in what we do. We're not changing formats or anything like that. We're just, you know, taking in more, and you know.
Just because we open up a door doesn't mean we close the one behind us.
Okay.
We never do that.
No.
Sounds good. It's up to you now.
Yes.
If you have any questions, we have microphones, so just give us a sign. And then there's someone coming. No one? Come on. This is your chance.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Sophie. Hi, nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you.
I'm a musician as well, and I started listening to you when I was by an age of, I don't know, like 16 or something. You did change during the past couple of years with your style, with your music, what I really like, because as a musician by myself, I really do feel that music has to change every time through every journal of your life. And so right now, like my question is, if you have 3 words to describe your position as a musician right now, what would they be?
Big, not huge responsibility. That's 2 words, but very huge responsibility for the world and for the society. Because I feel like one of the reasons why sometimes you feel like some kind of when societies become narrow-minded, and when people behave maybe racists or in a fascist way, it's usually because people have not been showing their real sides. And I think there's a lot of artists out there who has a responsibility to always speak from their heart and not let haters set the rules, you know. If you want to dress like you should do that, you know, and you should not think of what everybody else think of you all the time. So I think we have, as an artist, not bigger responsibility as you, because we all have the same, but we have a huge responsibility for society to behave, you know, to be ourselves.
What made you color your hair blonde?
That's a good question. That's a good question. Well, why I'm wearing white at the moment is because white captures other colors very good. Which means that if I want a pattern on myself, for instance with projectors, then if I'm wearing white, the white will change their colors. And that's also why I wanted my hair white, because then it can take a shape of any color. So it's more like opening up than closing.
So you see there's a concept behind.
Yeah, well, at least, yeah. It's a philosophy. It is actually,
again, back to
but you
philosophy.
open up to technology, you know. Yeah.
So because you just said about the responsibility, not only as a band, but also as a human being. So you actually see the band and yourself being like, role model is a very stupid word, but sort of being open to the world, being open to different sounds, being open to different developments. It is a big part of sort of your...
Megalomania.
Yes, somehow.
Well, a part of our confidence comes within the job of musicians, and I think that I have a little too much to say about music and musicians. For me, I value Bob Marley more than a religious figure, for instance. I mean, for me, I value Nina Simone's voice over a prayer
really
or something.
Everything.
Or something. Yeah, I mean, I value music so much. And for me, it's politics. And we are in a nice city to talk about this, because Berlin was once divided. And now Berlin has the best nightlife in the world, you know. And the DJ scene, yeah. Yeah, but it is, yeah. And also, like, if you see how the DJ culture and the electronic music, the nightlife actually brought people together when they danced together. And that is politics, and that is music. So I value music very, very high. And as a musician, yeah, I'm like a priest.
Yeah, I would totally agree. Any more questions?
Hello, my name is Rafaela. You were talking about the process of writing music. How long is a song, or you cannot really say, it depends on how your emotions are? How long is that process that you're saying you are jamming and trying to figure out the lines? How long is that more or less per song?
That's different from time to time and very abstract to describe. The only thing I realized is that as soon as we explored something or discovered something or been experienced something, we usually get inspired in some way. So it happens a lot on clubs. Like if you listen to just beats going over and over again, you maybe sometimes start to feel a melody in your head, and you record it on your voice memo, and then the work process, the arrangement of the songs, and like when we sit with our laptop, that can take a long time, but the actual stroke of luck or stroke from the music god up there is that's more like comes with that, I think.
But it's interesting
Experiences.
because it's kind of also kind of a file sharing way, because you never write a song without another song. So you have to have another song, or someone has to sing for me to sing, you know. So our fuel is also other music. That's why we write a lot when we go maybe to dance on a club, but also when we ride our car, and also when we just. What I usually do is I go to iTunes and I check all the countries' top 100 lists in every country in the world. I mean, Brazil, Mexico, Cuba, it's not there maybe, but
Probably not.
you know, like check Thailand, you know, like check it out, you know, to also be an explorer, and then you'll find, and then you get inspired, and then you start writing. But after you start writing a song, it goes pretty quick actually, because you have help, you know.
So music from out there, other music from other bands, is, as you just said, an influence. Did you actually feel it when you write songs, so that you sort of cling to, I think this sound comes from, as you just mentioned, Nina Simone, probably.
I've got songs for all my melodies.
Okay.
But you know, because I also, after construction, you know, when I know a song and I know that these two notes, I didn't mean it, but they come from this Paul McCartney song from 1973, you know. I know that, you know, because I listened so much to it, and it slipped there. And the first three notes, they come from there somewhere, you know. And that's so fantastic. It's all collages, you know.
So how did Jan Hammer came into the record? Because he's
sending him an email.
He's the god of the weeping guitar.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
And he played, and I really checked it because I didn't know that he's Czech.
Yeah.
He
No, we
is,
didn't
and he
know that
played
either.
in a lot of fusion bands, probably not Weather Report, but something very close to that.
Yeah.
So, and he did Miami Vice, of course. And
That's
then
what I knew him for,
Okay.
to be honest.
So
when,
you
when
just
I heard the name.
contacted him, and he said yes.
Yeah, and we had this idea that he was going to make something very cineastic, very huge, big ending of Black Saturday, maybe like so it feels like the world is ending, you know. And so we mailed him and asked kindly if he could do something. And then he sent back a 2-minute long guitar solo. And we were kind of, what?
we can do that, we said.
Yeah, exactly. My
we
first
can do
reaction
that.
was, I can do that, you know. Well, what is it?
But you're not.
But then I listened another time, and then I thought, no, I can't do that. I cannot do that. But I had no idea that it was a key guitar, a synthesizer. I had no idea. I mean, I found out by accident by video Googling him, and all of a sudden he was standing there, and I thought it was a guitar, you know. I couldn't hear the difference. I thought it was this big heavy metal solo, and I thought, finally we can go down on our knees and play, you know, like.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, but it's interesting because they all did come back. Giorgio Moroder had a very big comeback.
Oh, that's
So
true.
it's Faltermeyer somehow did a comeback.
Yeah.
And now Jan Hammer, you brought him back on
Yeah.
stage somehow.
Yeah. Well, you know, for
But
us, it's.
Did he listen to the final song, to the finished product? Did you send it over to him?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And what did he say?
No, but he
You liked the track.
He liked the track immediately.
Okay.
He loved it, you know. But it felt very like, yeah, give me the guitar. Thank you. Go back to watching TV or something. You know, like that. That was kind of the reaction. It took us a couple of hours, then we got an email back with a long solo. Like.
Okay.
It must be quite a big relief being able to make music like that as well. You know, like he did, just like, blop, and then.
Yeah.
Okay, so but it's not how you're going to end, hopefully.
I don't know. I don't
No,
know.
we don't know.
We
The
don't
ending
know.
of the world is a long solo of John Hammer. Yeah.
Probably. So
Well, you never know.
that's an interesting
No,
thought.
yeah.
Oh my God.
You go down on your knee and then. Yeah.
And it sounds like a guitar, but it's synthesizer.
Mm.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's a wonderful album. It's called Aelita.
Yeah.
It's out, and it's very good to listen to, and it's very good to watch it, wherever you're going to watch it, even on a CD or wherever. So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very
And
much
Thank
for
you.
having us.
have
My
fun,
pleasure.
success, and whatever may come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thanks to you.
Thanks to you.